At this point, there is then an important concept to apply this rule. It is to know is the essential character of the product. The essential character of a product is determined by the nature of the material or component that was made. This also include its bulk, weight, quality, value of the use of the product. Then, what determine the essential character of a product vary, we already say, based on the type of product it is. It is on a case by case basis problem, as we already say. Let's see a couple of examples. For example, an elevator is imported in an incomplete, unassembled condition. As imported, the product contains sufficient component to allow the elevator to operate such that it can carry goods and people vertically in a building structure. The critical subassemblies necessary to perform this function are included: the machine, the controller, the drive, the car frame, the hoistway material, the capsule, the ropes, and the counterweight. As we already say, under GRI 2, letter A, the factor or factor which determine essential character will vary with the measurement. It may, for example, be determined by the natural of the component or components, their bulk, amount, weight or value of the role of the component in relation to the use of the product. In this case, in this example, the elevator component in the imported condition possess the essential character of a complete elevator. The applicable subheading for this incomplete elevator will be the code 8428, which provide for the other lifting, handling, loading or unloading machinery, for example, elevator, escalator, conveyors, telepherics. But let's see another example now with an unassembled product. As you can read on the screen, the item is an unassembled aluminum frame exercise machine with adjustable seat and hand levers. The rider press the pedals and a carbon fiber reinforced belt system turn on a stationary wheel. Resistance can be increased to require greater force to be exerted on the pedals. Under general rule of interpretation number 2, letter A, any reference in a heading to an article shall be taken to include a reference to that article incomplete or unfinished, provided that, as entered, the incomplete or unfinished article has the essential character of the complete and finished article. It shall also include a reference to that article complete or unfinished or failing to be classified as complete or finished by virtue of this rule, entered, unassembled or disassembled. The applicable heading for the exercise bicycle will be 9506, which provide for articles and equipment for general physical exercise, gymnastic or athletic part and accessories for exercise circles. So, in resume, any product which is incomplete or unfinished, if retain the essential character of a complete product, must be considered when you are classifying it as if they were a complete product. And any product, when it is just unassembled or disassembled, must be considered unassembled or finished product as well. Well, this is the letter A of the general rule interpretation 2. Let's see now the second part of this rule, letter B. Rule 2, letter B says, any reference to a matter in a given game reach, say matter, even mixed or associated with other materials. Likewise, any reference to the manufacturer of a determined matter also include those constitute wholly or partially, but say matter. The classification of these mixed products or of these compound articles will be carried out according with the principle enunciated in Rule 3. This rule, as you say, is only applicable if there are no particular mention in the text of the items or in the legal notes section of the chapters. Like, for example, the product mixture of chapter 9 are classified according to legal note 9.1, or in heading 1503, mixes lard oil cannot be classified since it is heading text say lard oil unmixed. Common metal alloys are also subject to a special provision in the legal note 15.3. For all this, it results that the rule 2b is an orientation rule to indicate that in the nomenclature, not only pure substance or manufacturers of a single material are classified, but they are also include mixtures and composite articles, which in principle likely to correspond to two or more headings, so the classification will be made in accordance with the provision of the next rule, the rule 3. This means that in the text of the headings and the harmonized system, when referring to a matter as suspense, it's understood that this text also include such matter mixed or associated with others. But there is a complication with this. Yes, because as a consequence of this extension, mixed or compound material have two or more classification options according to the component they have. For example, if there is a mixture, let's call a mixture AV, composed for two materials of substance, the material A and material B. The heading corresponding to a substance A, it also understood that includes substance mixed or combined with the other substance, like substance B. And at the same time, the heading corresponding to the substance B is understood to cover this specific substance also mixed or combined with substance A. So both heading, the heading for A and the heading for B, have the same classification option. The substance mixes with B and the substance A mixes with B, or the substance B mixes with A. Well, in this case, the rule does not indicate how the product had to be classified. It only indicates that for these cases, the following rule must be used. The following rule is rule number 3. So let's review rule number 3, GRI 3, for this. But first, let's look at some examples, some products that fall under this rule. In this example, there is a shampoo mix with conditioner. We can see that within the heading 5305, hair presentation, in the 10 shampoo, in the 0520, preparation for permanent wavelength strengthening, hairspray in the next 30, and 90, all the rest, other preparation for use on the hair. By application of the rule 2, letter B, two classification options are open: 530510 and 530590. 530510 shampoo is within which we must include this product mixed or associated with other material like conditioners, and 530590 others including conditioners within we must include this product mixed or associated with other materials such as shampoos. So we have two options at least in this case: 530510 and 530590. What rule 2b tells us is that we must apply rule 3 to resolve this classification. Let's see another example now for a product made up of two or more materials. This product is a floor mat composed of two or more materials: rubber in the lower part and textile material on the upper part. For this product, we will find these two options: 4016, or the article of vulcanized rubber, the lower part of our floor mat is made of this, and the heading 5703, which indicate carpets or another textile floor covering tufts, whether or not made up the upper part of our mat stone. In this case, we also have two options: 4016 and 5503, and we must solve this by applying rule 2. But then, if this rule doesn't tell us how to classify, what is the function of the rule 2b? Well, rule 2b does not really classify merchandise. It's only extend the scope of headings, including material mixes or associated with other materials, and manufactured and made up for two or more materials before we reach two more possibilities of classification. The classification of this mixed or combined material and manufactured composed of two or more materials, says the rule, it will be carried out in accordance with the principle of the rule 3. So then, let's see what rule 3 says. Well, as we already mentioned it, this rule 3 is applied to the cases considered in the rule 2b, and to solve other cases in which we have the same product classified under two or more heading in the first instance. Rule number 3 provides classification principle for goods which prima facie fall under two or more headings. Prima facie means apparently, or at first sight, or in a first instant or opinion, or without further analysis. Let's see these three principles. Letter A, propose the first method, the first principle. The rule 3a stipulates that goods should be classified in the heading given the most specific description. However, there is a provision that if two or more heading is referred to only one of the materials or substances contained in mixed or composite goods, or to only some of the articles included in a set put up for retail sale, those headings are to be regarded as equally specific in relation to those goods, even if one of them give a more complete description than the other. The second method or principle is proposed by the letter B. This method deals with mixed or composite goods consisting of assembly of different articles and goods pop up in sets. By application of this rule, goods are classified in the heading applicable to the material or component which give them the essential character. The third and last principle is indicated in letter C. of this rule 3, and applies only where good cannot be classified by application of rule 3a or rule 3b. This method provides that goods should be classified in the heading which occur last in the numerical order among those which equally merit consideration and determine their classification. Then, in summary, Rule 3 proposed 3 methods to resolve merchandise classification for this case, which at first glance or prima facie have classification options in 2 or more headings. And this principle have to be applied in a strict order. The most specific heading, GRI 3A, the essential character, GRI 3B, and the last heading in numerical order, GRI 3C, in this order. First, it is a question of establishing which is the most specific item among those that can be taken into account. But if it cannot be established, then it is solved which is the item that confers the essential character. And if it's not possible neither, then the last heading in numbering order will make you take the classification decision. But you must be very carefully with this method of the last item, of the last position, which is widely used for those who are new to the tariff classification or merchandise process, because in practice it is very rare to find cases that are resolved by this method. So to avoid suspicion from the customs authorities, be sure that the first 2 possibilities must be very trying to apply or understand it very exactly. To understand this rule more easily, we are going to see it in part according to its letters A, B, and C. So let's see first letter A. Okay, so the first concept here is that the GRI A provide guidance on how to choose between competing headings in which both appear to equally describe a merchandise. This rule says that the heading that provide the most specific description of the merchandise should be chosen over the heading which is more general in description. I think this is easier to see with an example. The first sample presented here is a classification of stainless steel spoons for dining table. In this case, after applying rule 1, it wasn't possible to find a classification only with the text of the heading and legal notes. And after applying rule 2, we define that prima facie our product corresponds to being resolved by rule 3, since it has 2 or more classification options. Well, if this were the case in the first example, there will be 2 sorting options here. For example, they could be the heading 7323 that includes the article for domestic use and their parts made of cast iron or steel, etc. And the other option will be the heading 8215 that includes spoon, forks, ladles, skimmers, etc. In this case, we choose the heading 8215 because this one specifically mentions spoons, while 7323 only generically names a series of products, household items. We can see that when comparing these 2 headings, text, one is more specific than another. Another example, if we are the same situation of the previous one with an import of a digital clock for automotive vehicle dashboard, we have at first glance these two classification options. 8708, part and accessories of motor vehicles of headings. 8501 and 8701 of 8705, and 9104, instrument panel clocks and similar clocks for automobiles, aircraft, ships, or other vehicles. In this case too, heading 9104 is more specific than 8708 because it specifically mentions dashboard clocks for automobile vehicles. At the end of the day, it is not possible to propose a very rigorous principle that allows to define if a heading is more specific than another. However, in a general way, it can be said that a heading that designates or mentions specifically a particular item of product is more specific than the ones comprises a family of articles. For example, steel forks are classified in the heading 8215, spoon and forks, and not in the heading 7323, articles for household use. Then we can say that the heading that identifies the merchandise with the greatest clarity and with more precise and detailed description is more specific heading. For this, what we already reviewed in the previous lesson, we saw the different type of heading which you can find in the harmonized system: specific, generic, and residual. It also very helpful. Well, but rule 3, letter A, in addition to indicating that the preference for the more specific heading over to the more general ones, also indicates something else. The final paragraph of rule 3A indicates that when the product are mixed product, composite product, or mixed merchandise, or the goods are presented in set for retail sale, and the heading, the text of the heading that you are comparing to select which is the correct one, they mention it. They refer to only one of the part of the product of which the product is composed, and the other heading mentioning only that the other part of the product. Then all these headings must be considered equally specific, and therefore letter A of rule 3 cannot be applied because the solution in this rule is based on asking which is the specific one or the more specific. And if they must all be considered equally specific, then it is impossible to apply letter A, and therefore priority must be followed, and you have to apply the letter B of this rule number 3. So when rule number 3A cannot be applied, rule 3B must be applied. And this rule is quite simple to understand, at least. It says that to classify this product, the essential character must be considered. This letter B of rule 3 offered to resolve this classification dilemma between two or more headings using the essential character principle, which at first may seem a bit subjective since it sounds very philosophical, ethereal, but to avoid this subjectivity, the customs authority has established more practical and real criteria. Sometimes this essential character is based on the importance of one of the constituents material of the mixed product or of the articles that compose it. Other times, the volume, quantity, or percentage, weight, or value, or in the importance of a function in relation to the others. So in summary, for these cases, in mixed products must be chosen the heading of the matter or substance that confer the essential character to the merchandise. And this criterion must be based on the one of that predominate in or quantity, percentage, or weight, or volume, or in value, if it is possible to determine it. Then this part of the rule 3, the rule 3b, applies to mixed products, composite articles, merchandise present in set of assortments for retail sale. Now let's see first what this type of product are. Mixtures. Here we have an example of mixture. Is when barley would correspond to a heading 1003 and oats, which correspond to a heading 1004, are mixed in equal amounts. In this example, there is a product that consists of two or more ingredients, in this case two, which each ingredient having a separate provision and no provision exists for the mixture of in the harmonic system or the mixture as a whole. There are cases when the mixture is very hard to separate. These are mixtures. So let's see now. These are a composite. So let's see now a composite. In this composite example, in the middle of the screen, of the slide, the merchandise is a combined wireless charging projection alarm clock. For example, both are contained in the same housing. In this example, the product consists of two or more distinct items or components which are located in the same housing. Both components can be classified in their own heading, and no provision exists for the composite good in the harmonized system or the composite good as a whole. These are the kind of cases when components are items that can be easily separated. Our third example, a set. You can see there in the slide, to the left of the slide. A set understanding GI 3 letter B, the term goods put up in set for retail sale means the good being considered must comply with these 2 points. First, a set consists of at least 2 different products. The article in the set must be different type by nature. Cannot be 2 pairs of the same product, like a pair of eyeglasses or a pair of scissors. They are only considered sets when they are different products. The second point is a set consists of products put up together to meet a certain need or perform a specific activity and put up together for a proper sale to consumer without repacking. We can see an example of sets at the right of the slide. This one, this is an example of a composite product. It's a pencil sharpener with a container which for a dinosaur, a toy with a dinosaur shape. This pencil sharpener incorporates a kind of toy, a scale dinosaur which have the function of to hold the shavings, but also to make the product more attractive. They can also promote the sales of this product. Despite the above, the article derives its essential character from the sharpener, which is an article of cutlery, and therefore, according to this rule, the product will be classified under heading 8214. Let's see another example.